Imagine you walk into a toy store and buy a brand new set of Lego bricks. You take them home, you pour them out on the floor, and you start building a castle. But then you realize you made a mistake. You want to take two bricks apart to move them. Suddenly, a tiny alarm goes off inside the brick. A voice says, "Access denied. You are not authorized to move this brick. Please contact a Lego certified engineer." You look at the box. It says you own the bricks. You paid for them with your own money. But the bricks are locked. If you try to force them apart, the whole castle will stop working. To fix your own toy, you have to drive 2 hours to a special shop and pay $50 for a guy to click a button on a computer. This sounds like a joke, right? No one would ever buy Legos if they worked like that. But here is the terrifying reality. This is exactly how your smartphone, your car, your refrigerator, and even the giant tractors that grow your food actually work. We are living through the death of ownership. We are being moved into a world where you don't own your stuff. You just have permission to use it until it breaks. This is the story of the invisible monopoly. It's a war being fought in courtrooms and cornfields, and it's a war for the right to use a screwdriver. But here is the first twist. This isn't happening because the machines are getting too complicated to fix. It's happening because companies are intentionally breaking their own products to make sure you can never stop paying them. To understand this, we have to look at the bicycle and the magic key analogy. Imagine you buy a bicycle. It's yours. But the company that made the bike has hidden a secret software lock inside the chain. If the chain ever falls off, you can't just put it back on with your hands. You need a magic digital key to tell the bike it's okay to move again. Only the company has the key. In the old days, if your toaster broke, you opened it up, fixed a wire, and kept making toast. You were a citizen with assets. But today, companies want you to be a user with a subscription. They realize that if they let you fix your stuff, they only make money from you once. But if they force you to come to them for every tiny repair, they can charge you forever. They use something called parts pairing. This is the ultimate invisible wall. Imagine you have two identical iPhones. You break the screen on one, so you take the perfect screen off the other one and swap them. They are the exact same part, made by the same company. But when you turn the phone on, it doesn't work. The phone recognizes that the screen is different. It says, "This part is not genuine," and it disables your Face ID or makes the screen stay dark. The phone isn't broken. It's just being told to pretend it's broken by a line of code. This leads us to the second twist. The biggest battle for the right to repair isn't happening in Silicon Valley. It's happening in the middle of a cornfield in Nebraska. Meet the American farmer. For 100 years, farmers were the ultimate DIY experts. They had to be. If a tractor breaks down in the middle of a harvest, they can't wait a week for a repairman. Every hour the tractor is sitting still, the farmer is losing thousands of dollars. But a few years ago, the giant tractor company, John Deere, changed the rules. They turned their tractors into giant computers on wheels. Now, if a tiny sensor in the engine gets dusty, the entire tractor goes into limp mode. It slows down to a crawl. The farmer knows exactly what is wrong. He can see the sensor. He can fix it in 5 minutes with a rag. But he can't. Because after he cleans it, the tractor's computer still thinks it's broken. It needs a software reset. And John Deere won't give the farmers the software. This created a bizarre black market for tractor software. Farmers in the United States began buying hacked software from programmers in Ukraine and Poland just so they could fix their own tractors. Think about how insane that is. A multi-billion-dollar American industry is relying on underground hackers just to keep the engines turning. John Deere argued that they were doing this for safety. They said that if farmers could touch the software, they might make the tractors dangerous. But the farmers realized the truth. The company just wanted to own the repair shop. And this brings us to the third twist. This invisible monopoly is creating a mountain of trash that is literally visible from space. In the old world, a good washing machine lasted 30 years. You replaced a belt, you replaced a motor, and it kept running. Today, the average appliance lasts 7 years. Why? Because the companies use glue and secrets. They glue the batteries inside the phones so you can't swap them. They use pentalobe screws that require a special screwdriver you can't buy at a normal hardware store. And they refuse to publish repair manuals. When a $1,000 laptop has a tiny $2 chip fail, the official repair shop will tell you it's impossible to fix. They will tell you that you need to buy a whole new motherboard for $800. Most people look at that price and just buy a new laptop. This is called planned obsolescence, but with a digital twist. The companies aren't just making the hardware weak, they are making the repair impossible. This results in millions of tons of e-waste, perfectly good machines, being thrown into holes in the ground because a company refused to sell a $5 spare part to a local repair shop. But why does the government allow this? This leads us to the fourth twist. The companies have been using a copyright law intended for movies and music to lock up your physical stuff. There is a law called the DMCA. It was made to stop people from pirating movies. It says you aren't allowed to break digital locks. The tech companies went to court and argued that since their tractors and phones have code inside them, any attempt to fix them is breaking a digital lock and is therefore illegal. They literally tried to argue that you don't own the software inside your car. You're just licensing it. But then the world started to wake up. A group of repair rebels started fighting back. People like Louis Rossmann, a guy who fixed MacBooks in a tiny shop in New York, began filming his repairs and showing the world exactly how the grown-ups were lying. He showed that unfixable MacBooks often just needed a 10-cent wire. He started a movement that went all the way to the White House. In 2023, the tide finally started to turn. New York and California passed the first right-to-repair laws. These laws force companies to sell parts, tools, and manuals to the public. For the first time in decades, the invisible monopoly is starting to crack. But don't celebrate just yet, because the companies have one final move. This leads us to the final and most terrifying twist of all. As the law forces companies to allow repairs, they are moving to the ultimate subscription. They are realizing that if they can't stop you from fixing the machine, they will just stop selling you the machine entirely. We are moving into the as-a-service era. Soon you won't buy a car. You'll pay a monthly fee to use a car. You won't buy a refrigerator. You'll rent one from a home appliance provider. In this world, the right to repair doesn't matter because you own nothing. You have no right to open a machine that belongs to a corporation. If the billionaire librarian decides your life subscription is over, he just clicks a button and your entire world shuts down. The invisible monopoly is shifting from a wall around your stuff to a wall around your life. So, what is the lesson here? Ownership is a form of power. When you can fix your own tools, you are independent. When you rely on a single giant company for every aspect of your survival, you are a servant. The next time your phone screen cracks or your car makes a weird noise, don't just take it to the official store. Ask if they use parts pairing. Ask why they won't sell you the manual. And remember the Lego bricks. If we allow companies to tell us how to build our own castles, eventually, we'll realize we're just living in their world, playing by their rules, with bricks we never truly owned. The screwdriver is the most revolutionary tool in history, because a person who can open their own stuff is a person who can't be easily controlled. The locks are on, the hackers are working, and the war for your stuff has only just begun.